Hello, and welcome back to Divorce Happens, the podcast where we support you before, during, and after divorce with education, inspiration, a little bit of laughter, and all of the guidance you need because, as we know, divorce happens and then you start fresh. And we're here today with one of our amazing experts, Robyn. Robyn, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Thank you for having me, Olivia. It's great to be here with you today. And I know that you are an expert in all things how divorce happens and how we get to make fresh starts after that. So I'm very happy to talk with you. So, my name is Robyn Gaillard, and I'm a mind body connection consultant and clinician. So, I am a holistic health practitioner and I work with basically movement, thoughts, emotions, and light. So, people's environments in those capacities. And so, people who undergo stress, that's what we tend to dissect and work through in the body. And I look forward to talking more about my work with you today.
Yeah, so divorce and stress kind of go hand in hand like love and marriage, right? And so um I have yet to meet one person who has not had some sort of mental breakdown during their divorce, even the amicable divorces. They are stressful, right? Because it's so many things involved. So, Robyn, people are going through divorce. Maybe they're even just in the beginning, the consideration phase, and that's stressful too. What are some things we can do to really like ground ourselves, bring our stress level down? Because it's not healthy to be that stressed for so long. So, what would you say? What do you do with clients when they're going through a divorce?
Sure. So, excellent question. And the answers are nuanced, in my opinion. Um, Stress is your emotional response to a stressor. So, in this case, the divorce is the stressor. And it's not a one time thing. It's not like you catch a cold and it goes away and then you're better. It's more chronic, like an illness that you work with through time. So you have to understand that you're going to have a range of emotions. That's the stress that you're kind of experiencing while you're continuing to go through your day to day. And it's really hard to make the decision to get divorced and to separate, no matter what the circumstances are. Usually that happens sort of behind the curtain. And then when the band aid is ripped off, it's sort of like you're in the wake of the decision, but the world, so to speak, is hearing the news for the first time. So that's sort of my first the first place I go to is like that's the stressor is like, oh no, I'm exposed, right? So the stress that comes along with that is more anxiety, more what if thinking, more overthinking. So really getting a handle on what the emotional baseline is in you when you're going through this big life change, and honoring that every emotion is temporary and that you have to grieve this process. And, like when people lose loved ones, we all go through that in our life too. It's a similar experience in that it is a death. It's a death of a way of living that will no longer be the same. And it's a birth of a new you and a new way forward. And so being as tender as you can through that is my number one recommendation, and harnessing all of what is right there for you. Really coming back to stillness as a practice and stillness as opposed to a vegetative state on the couch watching television. Those are two different emotional states,
That's
right?
true.
You can veg out and watch television for hours at night, but you're maintaining a baseline emotion of whatever it is that you're going through if you're just using the television to numb you from experiencing the emotions. So really being, have that awareness. And I think for parents, if you're going through a divorce and you have children, the hardest part is how you still have to do the day-to-day stuff. It never ends, it doesn't stop. But there is a lot that you can work with within that keeps you going too. That you always get to the dinner time and you're making the dinner so hard. It's
Yeah.
just so hard.
Yeah.
But that you get to have these end of day experiences and moments in the day that are the thread that keep you going from one day to the next. I think support is so important as well, but you don't have to make your circle super big. I recommend finding that friend or family member who's maybe 6 months or 18 months or 2 years ahead of you in the process, because then they're going to be able to listen to you from a place of absolute knowing and understanding. And so the way that they can hear what you're saying when you're sharing how you feel
Yeah.
is going to be such an important part of how you process
Mhm.
the emotions that you're going through. And that's going to take you through the stress in a way that
Mm.
brings you to more ease and more neutrality over time. Because in the ease and neutrality, you're going to get you're going to get like the wave of the new life that's going to come into you, and you're going to breathe that into you as well. And so then over time, you start to go, 80-20, 70-30, 60-40, 50-50, and you kind of make your way to the other side of the
I
mountain.
love that.
I think I think eating well is so important. I think getting outside as much as you can is very important. Sunshine, prioritizing sleep, because look, if these days are 24 hours long and you're awake for the time that you could be sleeping and repairing and healing your body and calming your nervous system and getting your cells in their repair cycle, that's going to cause health problems. And you want to stay as healthy and well as you can so that you can nurture yourself through the hard times and start to bring in the new life, breathe in the new life
Mm.
into your body and
I
into
love
your
that.
soul.
I love that.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the small things go a long way. And if
Mm.
I could share a quick story with you, Olivia, I
Please, yes.
have some personal experience here. And um, about 4 years ago, when COVID was going on, there were times where I was with my son, and it was just the two of us by ourselves. And the holidays were coming, and there were definitely 2 or 3 years in that where it was just the two of us, and I didn't have a lot of resources financially, and I didn't have a lot of people in my life. Everybody's doing different things and have, that's just the way it was during that phase. And I remember feeling so self-conscious about that and putting myself down about it, going through it. But just the other day he said to me, "I can't wait for Christmas this year, Mom." And I thought, well, that's so interesting. What are you looking forward to? And what he listed back to me were all the little things that I decided I could do, no, regardless of the circumstances, like the baking. And we have this small tree that we always get. It's just a small little tree, but the tradition of getting it and him decorating it, he's looking forward to. And there's this, for those of you who celebrate Christmas, there's like a Santa Tracker app, and you can go and watch Santa delivering
We love that.
presents. And so he always talks about that. And so he rattled off 4 or 5 things that he was looking forward to. And I kind of had this moment because now I'm on the other side of those hard years. And I thought, you know what? I'm so proud of myself that I didn't think that the world was ending, that I knew that in those small little hard moments, I could breathe life and presence myself. And you don't always get the feedback immediately, which is equally as challenging when you're so overwhelmed, and the emotions that you're carrying tend to be the heavier, harder, more negative ones. But if you can just remind yourself that you will get through this, and you're not the first person and you won't be the last, and that you made this decision to divorce, whether it's together or separate from your partner, because you both needed something different than what you were experiencing. And so you already knew that in your soul. And really the biggest obstacle is trusting and having enough faith that you can actually build a new life that will be the way the old one was, or have all the things that you desire on the other side of the
I
challenge.
love that. I love that. And I love how you said it is like a chronic illness, and you have to learn to cope, right? And to live with it in its new, new way. Robyn, can you tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you work with clients?
Sure, yeah. So I focus on our wellness and oneness. So this toggle between health and wellness, and how it has so much to do with who you are spiritually, and also health wise, from a holistic health standpoint. So I focus on the lens of the nervous system, circadian health, and cellular wellness. So there's a lot of quantum biology in my work around how to stay healthy from a cellular standpoint, but also just what nature gives us and how nature can charge us up and keep us healthy. I do a lot of work with light as well. So people just really, in terms of monitoring stress, really having this understanding of what your artificial light to natural light ratio is on any given day, and how the accumulation of that over time can really impact your thoughts and your emotions and your overall wellness. So I work with movement and breath as well. I've been a yoga teacher for a long time, so there's a lot of body work that I do with people. And people come from all different places. I have clients who want support with their children, and then they know that, you know, we work together. The parents, or the parents and I work together, and they see how there's a change then, you know, once their observation of what they want to change is in place, then they can start thinking differently and see the changes in their children. So yeah, this dance through thoughts, thought cycles, emotion cycles, baseline emotions, and also our light environment is really the focus of my work.
Love
So
it. Well,
I just,
yeah, and I
yeah.
know, I mean, my own children have worked with you, so I know the impact that you make. And you can find all of Robin's information at Fresh Starts Registry in the expert guide and in the show notes for this episode. And before we let you go, Robin, if somebody's listening to this, going through a divorce or considering a divorce, what would be some last wise words you could just leave with them?
Oh, great question. Um, you do have to feel it to heal it. And you're going to learn so much about who you really are on the other side of all of this. And no one said running a marathon would be easy.
Yeah,
So it's through those ups and downs that you're going to really learn about who you are. And that's going to be, somebody's going to see that in you, and it's going to teach them
I
something.
love that.
So just keep
I
going.
love that. I love that. Well, Robin, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Olivia. Great to talk to you. We'll talk soon.